Welcome, boys. In this video, I'm going to talk a little bit about what it's like to daily drive this 1989 Camaro, 3rd gen, affectionately called Blue, as I've had it since September, and I've been dailying it mostly since then, with the exception of super inclement weather days. So, first things first. When I first got it, we didn't have certain functions working, such as the speedometer. And because the speedometer didn't work, the odometer didn't work. But since repairing that by installing a GPS unit, there is the GPS antenna. That's the module, I guess, or receiver. And that allows, once it's a solid blue color, allows me to have a very accurate speed. And once we got that fixed, we now driven over 2,000 miles. Sorry, I had to turn that off. Once I actually restore this thing, that's going to be one of the things that goes, is that annoying chime, because I don't really need that, I don't think. But it chimes when the seatbelt is not being worn, even if the engine's not running. So that's mad annoying. So that I plan on deleting along with the neutral safety switch, because I don't like the idea of anytime I want to start this thing, I have to push the clutch in. It's a mild annoyance because I don't have to do that in either of the Beetles. In the Beetles, you just turn the key. Now, it's a good idea to push the clutch in, especially if it's in gear, but if it's not in gear, you can just put it in neutral and start it, just like what I plan to be able to do with this. So I will wire it in such a way that that is bypassed, or tells the car the clutch is always being pushed in, and so it should just start no problem. That'll also come in handy if I ever get stuck somewhere. I can always put the car in first and then crank the starter, and then the starter itself will move the vehicle if I need to move it off the road slightly or something, should we run out of fuel. Which does bring me to the next point. So again, sorry about the annoying beep. Actually, let's buckle that. And with the seatbelt properly buckled, now we don't have that annoying beep. But it says 59 fuel. It's actually a little less than that. It was just under 50 when I got home. So I'm probably closer to like 48 or something like that. But that's with the fuel sloshing around. When it's sitting here, it reads slightly higher than what it normally would. And with this 355 V8, with the gnarly cam in it, we can pass everything except a gas station. I go about 200 miles before I need to refuel. The maximum I've gotten out of it was, I think, 243 or something like that. I think the last mile of it was coasting to the gas station, because I did run completely out of fuel. Fuel tank in this only holds 14 gallons. And this is how you combat that, because every time I refuel the 3rd gen itself, I also get an extra 10 gallons of gasoline in these 2 jerry cans. And so to properly refuel this, what I can do is I can go, instead of having to refuel every 3 days from driving, I have 132 miles on it right now. That's enough to go back and forth to work one more time and then most of the way home. So every 3 days I would have to refuel this thing, either when I get home or on the 4th day on my way to work or on my way back. I've ran out of gas before, and I had to coast it in. So because I don't want to go to the gas station every 3 days, I decided to buy 2 of these jerry cans. And so now, when I fill up the 14-gallon tank, I can get myself an extra 10 gallons. And then with that, I can refuel after 2 days, 5 gallons. And now I can do this today, tomorrow, And then it'll give me one more day to drive, so I can do about 6 days between refuels now. And so that's what I do. After 2 days of driving, before day 3, I'll put 5 gallons in. I'll drive one more day, fill her up again with the other 5 gallons, and then we're good. So in case you also had a gnarly can with a little bitty 14-gallon tank, you want to know, hey, how do I do this without having to gas up every 3 days? This is how you do that. So other than that, that's really the only annoying thing about daily driving this. That, and doesn't have any safety nannies to like keep you from killing yourself, so you have to be very careful in the rain, or even if it's mildly moist out or dark or something. A little on the dangerous side to drive this thing, because it does have quite a bit of power. The other thing is, I'd say this is the hardest manual transmission car I own to drive. The Beetle is the easiest. You don't have to rev match or anything. It just smoothly goes in gear, and you can let the clutch out, and it just goes. Not a problem at all. My 5th gen Camaro, it actually rev hangs. So when you let off the throttle to change gears, up or down, the revs will hang. So you kind of have to wait for it to drop before you complete your gear change. And this thing, the RPMs drop super quick. So you actually have to put it in gear, even on a upshift, blip the throttle, and then you're able to change gears up. And then you have to blip even more if you're going to change gears down. And then the only other issue is in the dark. So this has been crashed before, which would explain what the issue is. I noticed when I'm driving, when I had all the headlights fully functional, these were aimed to the right. So essentially these were aimed straight, these were aimed to the right, so they're both aimed at the same spot. So I can see everything to the right of the road on this side. So I adjusted these a little bit. They need to be adjusted more, but I see that the issue here is this has been crashed, because that side's not bent, this is bent. So instead of fixing this properly, the guy just slapped a fender on, which kind of sort of almost fits, but not really because of the damage. Like, we're going to get some work to get this to fit there. But I've adjusted them a little bit, so now I can kind of sort of see it ahead of me. But of course, this was the good side. This side, both of those bulbs were brighter than this side. That's a low beam and high beam. There's a dual filament bulb, and this is a high beam only. And then when that one burned out, I only had the dim side illuminating me, and so I could barely see anything. So I put some tape over the top part of the lenses. That way when I have to drive with the high beams on, all 4 of them, but to not blind the other drivers, I put tape. So now the light kind of comes out of here from the high beam filament, out through the bottom high beam filament. Ditto here for these 2 kind of dim ones. And I have already ordered, and they have come in from Hawks Motorsports, new headlights. 4 new ones. They are glass, but they are not sealed beam. They are, you can put a bulb in, and I have LEDs. So once I put those in and get it adjusted, I'll have modern day bulbs where I can actually see in an old-timey car. But you'll be able to notice because they're white, they're not that yellow color. Holly did sell some that were yellow, and they had the lenses too, but I think I paid $360 something for all 4 of these from Hawks. And from Holly, it was like 160 something a piece. And I was like, yeah, I'm not paying that just to get the yellow look. So, not going to happen. But that's about it. So, status report, definitely enjoy driving it on the daily. We just won't be able to once it gets hot, since we don't have air conditioning. But when the restoration process does it, when we go that far, I am going to put a retro AC in using the 134A. And that was going to be done at the end of 2026 winter, but I don't know about that yet, because I've been kind of delayed on some of the other stuff I was going to do this year. I was supposed to take the engine out of Katie's Beetle and reseal it, restore that other Beetle engine that I have sitting on the stand. And actually, it's not on the stand yet. It's just sitting down there on that furniture dolly. But this is going to be the rebuilt spare engine. And that way, that'll be rebuilt and it can be used as a spare. Katie's will be rebuilt, or resealed rather. If I have to rebuild anything in it, I will while it's out. But we really mostly just need to reseal it because it leaks. But it was leaking a lot more. And now we barely have any drops here. We have some coming off of those push rod tubes. But there used to be a lot more leaking from the axle. But I have, over this most recent weekend, replaced the swing axle boots, which I might be able to show you. I guess not. There's not really a lot of room to get in here to show you that. But I put new axle boots in there, swing axle boots. They're not the accordion style anymore. They are still the split type, but the better ones. And it's not leaking anymore. So when the engine comes out, I'm going to reseal it. Maybe replace the clutch if I need to, probably while it's there, and then do the Beetle. But that was supposed to be done this year. This winter wasn't done. So I'll probably have to do that next winter, which means the Camaro is going to be pushed back for probably another year. But we'll see. We'll burn that bridge when we get there. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope this helps if you happen to own one of these and daily it, although I don't see too many on the road, so probably nobody is tuned in to ask the question and get the answer. How do I drive this thing more than 3 days to and from work without having to refuel? But if you were wondering, that's how I do it. 2 5-gallon jerry cans. And that'll get her done. So catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching, boys. Peace.